And we're back. Welcome to my preview and predictions for the final day on match day 2 of the Club World Cup. These matches taking place tomorrow. If you want to see my predictions for today's matches in the Club World Cup, you can do so by checking out the video at the top of your screen right now. And while you're there, there is also another video, which is for the Euro Under-21s quarterfinals, also taking place today and tomorrow. So plenty for you to get digested in on this YouTube channel right now. And as always, if you haven't done so already, please do consider dropping a like on this video and subscribing with notifications turned on so you don't miss out on any of the content we have got for you. And of course, it helps support the channel. And if you want to support the channel even more, you can hit the join button at the bottom of your screen to become a member of this channel as well. As for today, though, the 4 fixtures we're going to be talking about are on your screen right now. But more importantly than that, at the top of your screen right now, you will see that we finally got a correct score. It wasn't actually the best of days yesterday, another 2 out of 4 in terms of the actual results, but we finally got a correct score after a 5-hour match, Benfica getting the 6-0 win against Auckland City. So we finally broke that duck. Let's see if we can get any more correct scores today. So without any further ado, let's get things started with Juventus taking on Wydad, and 2 sides that massively impressed me on match day 1. Firstly, Juventus, who I thought would actually struggle against Al Ain, but in terms of all the European sides, they seem to put their stall out more than anyone else. I guess arguably Bayern Munich with the 10-0. But I thought Juventus would struggle against Al Ain, and they were absolutely fantastic. Blew them away in the first half, and that set them up really good for the rest of this group. For Wydad, I thought they were going to get hammered. And that was by far not the case. If anything, they really made it a competitive game against Manchester City. They had chances at the other end, which on another day they could have taken. I think the goals they conceded were a massive goalkeeping howler in the first minute of the match, and then a pretty scruffy second from Manchester City. But other than that, I thought they played really, really well. They made a good account for themselves. Again, proving why I really wanted to see this competition. Sides from Africa competing against the top sides in Europe. It's what you want to see. And to be fair to them, they really put on a good show. Obviously, it wasn't enough for them in the end, but it should give them some confidence coming up against the Juventus side, who technically, on paper, are not as good as Manchester City, but we shall see. In terms of the team news, obviously Juventus are in a great position for this match, given the fact that they've already got that massive win over Al Ain, which meant they were able to take players off early in the second half, and they even made a couple of changes at half-time. So they can rotate some players out, and they can also keep some of their top players fresh because of how they rested them. Obviously, the final group game is against Manchester City, but if they can get this victory here, it means that they'll be able to actually rotate against Manchester City, and knowing that they're already through. For Wydad, no fresh concerns for them, but obviously, given the fact that they did lose to Manchester City, they're going to need to get a result against Juventus here, in the knowledge that it is very likely that Man City do go on to beat Al Ain. So it could make this a very, very open match. They could potentially have some issues around Mailula, who struggled on match day 1 and then came off at half-time. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with him in this game. Personally, I still think Juventus should come out on top here, just given how well they played in that first game. And for Wydad, they've got a chance, but I don't think it's much of a realistic one. I'm going for a 3-0 victory to Juventus. Next up will be Real Madrid and Pachuca, and we have to start on a sad note here because obviously the main talking point around Real Madrid over the last few days has been, of course, Kylian Mbappe, hospitalised for a serious fever. I believe he's been released from hospital now, which is great to see, but unfortunately for him, it could mean that he misses the entirety of this tournament. I certainly think it'd be incredibly unlikely that we see him in this game, but to his credit, Gonzalo Garcia came in for him and did score a goal against Al Hilal, albeit he didn't really know too much about it, but he scored it nonetheless. Other than that, though, that was pretty much all we saw from Real Madrid against Al Hilal, who, in my opinion, absolutely outplayed them, and obviously more on Al Hilal shortly. And speaking of getting outplayed, that is exactly what happened to Pachuca against FC Salzburg as well, except for them, it resulted in defeat, whereas for Real, it only resulted in a draw. So, coming into this one, obviously you would expect Real Madrid to be the favourites for it. Whether or not they rotate their team around remains to be seen. Obviously, I think they would have expected to beat Al Hilal, then beat Pachuca, knowing that they'd be then safe as group winners going into the final game against Salzburg. But now, they do have to win this game in the knowledge that you've got 2 sides coming up against each other later on that could guarantee that they finish above Real Madrid in the group should results go in their favour. So, we shall see. I think we might see some rotations in midfield, maybe a start for someone like Gula or Brahim Diaz or Luka Modric. But other than that, I don't think they're going to change too much. For Pachuca, no fresh concerns for them, but obviously they need a change in performance if they're going to get the result here. Personally, though, I don't see it happening. I think Real Madrid come out on top. I'm going for a 3-1 victory to Real Madrid. I still think Pachuca are capable of scoring a goal. Which then takes us to probably the hardest fixture of the day between the two standout sides in this group on match day 1, which is, of course, Salzburg taking on Al Hilal. Salzburg, the leaders of this group, after beating Pachuca on match day 1. Al Hilal obviously level with Real Madrid after drawing with Real Madrid. But like I said, both sides played some absolutely fantastic stuff. We've spoken about Salzburg to death, about how they've got all this young talent that they always seem to produce, and it was enough to beat Pachuca. For Al Hilal, some of the football they were playing against Real Madrid, it was kind of baffling that that sort of style of football was being played against Real Madrid rather than from Real Madrid. The way they moved the ball around, their awareness and their creativity was absolutely outstanding. It's just a shame for them that in the final moments it didn't quite happen for them, and it did require a penalty for them to actually get the goal that they ended up scoring. But it puts them in really good stead for the rest of this group. I think they're going to go into this game against Salzburg as favourites. I think regardless, they're certainly going to go into the game against Pachuca as favourites. So there's a very good chance of Al Hilal progressing from this group. In terms of the team news, no fresh concerns for either side coming into it. So it's just going to be a straight shootout. I think this has the potential to be one of the most entertaining games of the tournament because both these sides play such fresh and expansive football. So could be a really entertaining one. Personally, I think the Saudi Arabian side has that little bit of extra quality. You think of the top-end internationals they've got on their side, the likes of Cancelo, Koulibaly, Milinkovic-Savic, etc. So I think they're just about going to edge it. But do not rule Salzburg out of this game. They have a very good young team, and they are more than capable of producing a result in this one. I'm going for a narrow 2-1 victory to Al Hilal. And then finally, probably the easiest prediction of the night, it is Manchester City taking on Al Ain in their final game of the day. And look, City maybe not at their brilliant best on match day 1, but let's not get it twisted. They were playing against a Wydad side that were playing absolutely out of their skin, and they still got the result. Furthermore, they were testing out some of their new players. Reinder's having his debut. Cherki having his debut. I'm sure Nouri's going to get his debut in the game today. And let's not also forget all of Ruben Diaz, Rodri, Haaland, and Bernardo Silva didn't start that game. And the likelihood is that all of those are going to be coming back into the side for this game against Al Ain, who, of course, did lose 5-0 to Juventus. So I don't really see Al Ain getting much help in this one. I just don't think it's going to happen for them. One player that won't be playing for Manchester City is, of course, Rico Lewis after that horrific challenge on the Wydad defender where he literally studded him in the face. I can't believe people still think that's not a red card. It's baffling. Okay, he got the ball, but then he lifts his foot and kicks the guy in the face. So he's not going to be available for them. No fresh concerns for Al Ain. They are, of course, a side that is more than capable of scoring goals. No, we didn't see it against Juventus, but you actually look at the stats, despite the 5-0 scoreline, they did actually create quite a lot. And again, if you watch the Manchester City game against Wydad, they were very sloppy at the back still look vulnerable to counter-attacks. So I do fancy Al Ain to get themselves a goal, but ultimately, I expect Manchester City to win this game very comfortably. I'm going for a 4-1 victory to the English side. And that's going to be it for today's video. That is going to be it for match day 2. As always, let me know all of your thoughts down in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching. We will, of course, be back tomorrow morning with the first matches of match day 3. So a final thank you very much for watching once again. I'll see you tomorrow.